3 of his poems, and then we're going to pass it on to Leroy Moore, who is going to perform a poem for us. We'll go back to Latif, and he'll read another 3 poems, and then we should have a little bit of time if anyone has questions for a bit of a Q&A with both Leroy and Latif towards the end. So for all of our beautiful visually impaired viewers, just to give folks a physical description of me, if you can't see me, I'm a light-skinned Latina. I have light curly brown hair and bangs. I'm wearing a hand-me-down dress from a neighbor that's quite cute. No, it's a nice dress I got. It's navy blue with some white flowers on it, and I've got some big round pink earrings on. So folks can put a visual to my voice. On a similar note, we really would like to thank our sign language interpreters who are here with us today, as well as our captioner. And I'm gonna be reading a little bit of this introduction before reading Latif's bio to you all. So as I said, I'm really honored and happy to be here with you all on this momentous day. I met Latif at actually a Krip Hop Nation event that Leroy Moore was putting on probably about 1.5 years ago at La Peña Cultural Center in Berkeley. And since then, we've performed together. We even co-wrote a poem about migrants and borders that is going to be published in Pochino Press as part of an anthology of Pan Dulce poets. So we've been doing some great collaborating this year. And I'm going to read Latif's bio, which is astonishing. But first, I wanted to share a simple, just short quote by the late, magnificent James Baldwin. And he says, you have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you, not with its idea of you. So you have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you, not with its idea of you. And so I wanted to share this quote as we recognize Latif and his incredible book, because he truly embodies this notion that Baldwin speaks about. He knows who he is. He's harnessed his strength and creative beauty in defiance of a society that has refused to see him in his victorious brilliance, which we all get to experience and bear witness to today. So let me get into his incredible bio. Forgive me just 1 second. I just had it. Okay, I got it. So here we go. And then one thing I'm gonna attempt to do, and we'll see how it goes, I have a track that Latif has performed on. It's a hip hop track of his that I'm gonna try to do a little bit of an intro of right before he speaks, and also do the same with a track by Leroy right before he goes on to do his piece. So we can hopefully try to have a little bit of a musical element as part of the show as well. So here we go. Latif McLeod is building his career as a writer and a scholar. He has earned a BA in English from UC Berkeley and an MFA in creative writing from Mills College. He is 4 years into the Anthropology and Social Change doctoral program at California Institute for Integral Studies in San Francisco. He published his first book entitled, it was a first book of poetry as well, entitled A Declaration of a Body of Love in 2010, chronicling his life as a Black man with a disability and tackling various topics on family, dating, religion, spirituality, his national heritage, and sexuality. He also published another book of poetry entitled what we're here doing today, right? With his new book that just came out, whispers of Krip love, shouts of Krip revolution. What? He is currently writing a novel tentatively entitled The Third Eye is Crying. He was in the 2007 and 2016 annual theater performances of Sins Invalid, and also their artist in residence performance in 2011 entitled Residence Alien. In 2019, he started a podcast entitled Black Disabled Men Talk with co-hosts Leroy Moore, Keith Jones, and Otis Smith. The podcast website is www.blackdisabledmentalk.com. More of his writings are available on his website, latifmcleod.com, and his Huffington Post blog, which is www.huffingtonpost.com/Latif-McLeod/. Some of his community service work includes being the co-chair of the Persons with Disabilities Ministry at Allen Temple Baptist Church, and being the vice president of the leadership committee and executive board member of the International Society for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. So just an incredible human being that now we're gonna have the delight of hearing some of his poems. The first set, which, pardon me. What I'm gonna do right now before his set is just to let folks in the audience know the 3 poems that he's gonna be reading right now and what page they're on, in case, if you do have a copy of the book, you wanna read along in the book. So, Latif is gonna be reading for the first set, the poem on page 5 entitled Too Pretty for Some Ugly Laws. On 73, Your Love is My Harbor. And on page 29, So Much. So like I said, I'm gonna turn myself off and play just a slight intro of Latif's track. And then he'll be taking it away to begin his first set. So thank you all again for coming and being here at this great event. I'm gonna turn myself off and then just put this track on for just a second as we move into it. Can you guys hear that? Yeah. Up before sunrise, sitting on a train, smelling the funk, feeling the beat and the black paint. Maintain, buddy, keep it hella cool. Working 3 gigs, part-time, 2 different schools. Food, can't get it. Folks in your ear will let you forget it. And living in a mobile, can't afford the real. I'ma stay legit while the fat cat steal. Go from my chin.
Hello and welcome to the official book launch of Whispers of Krip Love, Shouts of Krip Revolution. Thanks, Amalia, for introducing me, and thank you for hosting this event. I am truly honored for all the people that came together to organize this event. Thank you for the sign language interpreters, the captioner, Amalia for hosting, and for my man Leroy for performing at this event. For an audio description of myself, I am a black man with cerebral palsy. I have my hair in a low-cut fade style, and I have a mustache and a chin-strap beard. I am wearing a button-up shirt, and I am in a Permobil power wheelchair. Before I start reading my poetry in this book, I want to talk a little about the title. As you noticed, the title has the word Krip in it, spelled with a K. The word Krip is a shortened version of the word cripple, which is originally a derogatory word for people with disabilities. I purposely used this word to say the ableism and persecution that is associated with that word does not define the disability community, and we can redefine the word and not have the word defining us. It also is an homage to friend Leroy Moore, who founded the cultural organization Krip Hop Nation, which organizes and highlights Black and other people of color with disabilities who are artists and musicians. Leroy has been a great influence to me as another Black man with cerebral palsy who is an artist and writer. So that is why I named the book that title. Without further ado, let's go into the poetry. The first poem I am reading is Too Pretty for Some Ugly Laws. This is the first poem in my book, and it is about the ugly laws that instated in American cities in the late 19th century, barring people with disabilities from public streets. What inspired me to write this poem is the book actually called The Ugly Laws by UC Berkeley professor Susan Schweig. The book details what the ugly laws were all about in this country and how they discriminated people with disabilities during that era. This poem shows how far people with disabilities have come in this country. I am too pretty for some ugly laws. I am not supposed to be here in this body, here speaking to you. My mere presence of erratic moving limbs and drooling smile used to be scrubbed off the public pavement. Ugly laws used to be in many U.S. cities' law books, beginning in Chicago in 1867, stating that any person who is diseased, maimed, mutilated, or in any way deformed so as to be an unsightly or disgusting object, or an improper person to be allowed in or on the streets, highways, thoroughfares, or public places in the city, shall not therein or thereon expose himself to public view, under the penalty of $1 for each offense. Any person who looked like me was deemed disgusting and was locked away from the eyes of the upstanding citizens. I am too pretty for some ugly laws, too smooth to be shut in, too smart and eclectic for any box you put me in. My swagger is too bold to be swept up in these public streets. You can stare at me all you want. No cart will bust in my head and carry me away to an institution. No doctor will diagnose me a helpless invalid with an incurable disease. No angry mob with clubs and torches will try to run me out of town. Whatever you do, my roots are rigid like 100-year-old tree. I will stay right here to glare at your ugly face too. Your Love Is My Harbor is a love poem that I wrote, and in that poem I am desiring emotional intimacy. In this society of atomization, isolation, and alienation. Having a close connection with someone can be hard to find, so I wanted to write a poem that captures this emotion. Your love is my harbor, the incessant gnawing in my sleep. These ideas fly around in my head, biting my brain, tearing my gray, morological flesh. I scream in agony in the night and have only your arms around me as comfort. Your hands caress and soothe my body, urging me to sleep as I lay beside you. You cradle my heart and prevent it from ripping out of my chest. As the endless horror flick of my memories play through my mind on an endless loop. You are there to regulate my breath, inhale the pain I exhale as I try to breathe after my torment. To awake and see your face is like to see a peaceful shore after being tossed and turned in a violent, tumultuous hurricane. You will always be my harbor after the storm. So much is a poem that expresses how Black life is tenuous in this country and is vulnerable to state and vigilante violence. I wrote this poem a few years ago, but it is still relevant today with the George Floyd murder and subsequent protest. So much. I hear their painful cries jut up from cracks on the street. The block is a scorching frying pan, frying my brothers on the pavement. Our bodies are etched on the concrete, blood drenched as permanent ink. Chalk should not outline our deathbed or a body bag be our first casket. Bullets lurch out of guns, slice the air and pierce the thin borders of our black skin. Eat away at our muscle and bones, burrow through sinews and blood vessels until it reaches and stops our hearts. It is not just the gang member on the corner whose aim we have to dodge, but also police on the beat whose itchy trigger fingers leave us with our brain matter splattered on the concrete. Now we have to watch out for the neighborhood watchmen, the want-to-be cops who think we are foreign to our own neighborhood. Trayvon had a hoodie on to protect them from the rain, but it didn't protect them from the bullet from Zimmerman's gun. Old George just couldn't help being a deadly Don Quixote and shoot at every black boy claiming he was a hardened criminal. My cocoa skin is not a target for your gun. It is the sacred encasing of God's masterpiece that gives warmth and joy to every loved one it touches. No bullet will destroy what God has made immortal. We will all rise again one day to walk under the sun. Back to you. Amalia. Back to you, Amalia.
Okay, wow. Give it up. Give it up for Lateef. Just such poignant work. It just grabs my soul. Dangerous poems. You're a poet with words for weapons. So next I'm gonna introduce Leroy Moore. And Leroy's gonna be performing his poem entitled Krip Masculinity. I worked with Leroy. I've had the honor of being able to work and also read alongside Leroy as well. One summer, a while back, I was teaching poetry for the people for City College of San Francisco at the SF County Jail. And I was able to bring in, Lateef was able to come in and give a presentation and work with the male inmates in my class. And it was just a phenomenal presentation that he gave. And I mean, I can't really express the transformative impact that Lateef's work has on people. Pardon me, Leroy. The double L's, we got L to the second power today. But as with Lateef, Leroy's work is groundbreaking, compelling, and just so necessary. I mean, one of his books that I'll mention in his bio is called Black Disabled Ancestors. And, you know, quite honestly, no one else is doing this work, right? This is incredible, such an incredible contribution. And it's, yeah, I get astounded by his work as well as Lateef's. Here's Leroy's official bio. And then, as I said earlier, I'm gonna attempt to play one of Leroy's tracks, a hip hop track of his as a bit of an intro before he begins his piece. Leroy F Moore Jr., founder of the Krip Hop Nation. Since the 1990s, he's written the column Illin' and Chillin' for Poor Magazine. Moore is one of the founding members of National Black Disability Coalition, and he's an activist around police brutality against people with disabilities. Leroy has started and helped start organizations like Disability Advocates of Minorities organization pardon me, let me start that one again. Leroy has started and helped start organizations like Disability Advocates of Minorities organization, To Sins Invalid, to Krip Hop Nation. His cultural work includes a film documentary, Where is Hope? Police Brutality Against People with Disabilities. He has spoken word CDs, poetry books, children's books, Black Disabled Art, History 101, published by Xochitl Justice Press. His graphic novel, Krip Hop graphic novel, issue 1, Brown Disabled Young Woman, Superhero Brings Disability Justice to Hip Hop, was published by Poor Press in 2019, and again, and in 2020, this book that I just showed you all, this incredible book, just came out, entitled Disabled Black Ancestors, also with Poor Press. Moore has traveled internationally, networking with other disabled activists and artists. Moore has written, sang, and collaborated to do music videos on Black disabled men. He can be found at kriphopnation.com, blackdisability.org, poormagazine.org/kriphop. On Twitter, he's Krip Hop Nation. You can find him on Facebook, and he's also on Gmail. So without further ado, I'm gonna start this short, just play a minute of a track of Lateef's own music, and then he'll get into, excuse me, I'm so sorry, I keep mixing up y'all's names. I really don't mean to do it at all. Leroy, pardon me. So Leroy, I'm gonna play a short bit of his track, and then Leroy's gonna come on and grace us with his powerful piece entitled Krip Masculinity.
I can't rest. My disabled brothers and sisters are shot, dragged, and beaten to death. Society is scared of him, big, black, and mentally ill. Take him away and give him more pills. I can't sleep. My disabled brothers and sisters are living on the streets. The Americans with Disability Act has done shit for me. Listen to my life. Got raped in a shelter, got robbed on the streets, 3 strikes, and now I'm in prison for life. I can't rest. Millions for Ed Roberts campus. Can't even get my exercise because I had no address. Does anybody care?
Okay, so that was that was Leroy's track. I Can't Rest, and please give it up for Leroy Moore, who's here to grace us with one of his poems. Thank you.
Hey, people, what's up? Lateef McLeod killed it. I love his poetry. And, before I get into my piece, I want to give thanks to Poet Metric Press. Poet Metric Press. That's the press that published Lateef's book, and that's the press that published my poetry book. And I told the press about Lateef. I told John Peterson about Lateef years ago. So I'm so thankful that that press has published Lateef's wonderful book. So, yeah. And also, I want to tell a little story about me and Lateef, because before this pandemic, me and Lateef went to Marcus Bookstore, a Black bookstore here in Oakland, because we really wanted to do an event at a Black bookstore. And matter of fact, before me and Lateef went to the bookstore years ago, me and Gary Gray, another Black disabled writer and author, went to the same bookstore, and unfortunately, we did not get a reading. So me and Lateef wanted to put it back on their plate to have a reading at a Black bookstore for Black disabled authors. Unfortunately, like we all know, the pandemic hit, and of course, that didn't go through. But I have to say, Lateef, after this whole pandemic is over, hopefully we can go back to Marcus Bookstore and continue to put our books in their faces. So anyway, this is called Krip Masculinity. 3 strikes, but I'm still sexy. Krip walk all through your secret garden. Let's get this shit started. Dueling my Krip masculinity. All over your body. Mirrors covering the walls. Watch me when I fall. yeah, even that is part of my Krip masculinity. Weakness and strength served up like a cake in the oven to be baked. Turn up, don't need whipped cream, I'm already sweet. I was seen as a flaw through the ugly laws. Yes, in San Francisco, couldn't be outside, Laguna Honda, still locking disabled bodies inside. You think I can't protect? With one look, they are a wreck. Fight with my mind, they are TKO all the time. It's not only muscular, it's also intellectual. I'm a scholar, wrapping words around your neck. Krip masculinity has to be masked, swallowing our full identity just to live in our community. We can flip your feelings like that, but it's only fear, so you react. We are only seen ready to attack. Calling 911, white women yelling rape. You see me, not human, more like ugly as an ape, like King Kong with a white lady in its claw. Out in public, you get so sick, making people feel. I think it's funny, you can't believe this is real. You, the lucky one, want to explore the taboo. Is it a fetish that you want to check off your list? Hit too close to home? This taboo is a part of you. When we shut that door, like to be controlled. So go ahead, push me to the floor. Ruff, 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 ruff. Put on my leash. I'm ready to be your beast. Pump my chest. Rising, yeah, my meat. My turn. Get on your knees. You thought this is sexual. No. Want you feel the only way role play. Treat you like you treat us like a dog. How long do you want us to hide our Krip masculinity? Like every oppression, something will pop out. Creating Krip brotherhood, rapping Krip hop. Elder to teenager, coming together, getting a little bit closer, seeing each other as brothers. We can be political and sexual as a group and individual. This must become real. What I'm saying, can you feel? Thank you, Latif, you guys.
Hey, all right. Wow. That was, ooh, just another hard hitter. You both, it's hard to talk about your work after hearing it because it's just so emotionally moving. And it just it does kind of knock me down. So that was incredible. And we're gonna move on to Latif's, thank you so much, Leroy. Also, just wanted to recognize again one more time the sign language interpreters here. Thank you very much, and the captioner as well. And I hope everybody's doing good. We're about to get into Latif's second set now. And just to give folks, again, the titles and page numbers of the poems, if you would like to follow along. The poems for Latif's last set are, pardon me, here we go, okay. So the last three poems Latif will be reading from the book is Father Madiba Shook My Hand on page 61. Then he'll read The Need for Family on page 86. And lastly, he's going to close it out with Why Are You Scared of Me on page 24. And after that, we'll see if any folks have any questions that you'd like to engage with Leroy and Latif about. There should be some time for that. And I believe if you can see at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's an area that says Q&A where you could write in some questions if you have them for us to field when we get to that point. So again, I'm going to pass it over to Latif to take it away one more time and hit us with these next three very powerful pieces. So thank you.
Father Madiba Shook My Hand was when I met President Nelson Mandela's hand as a small boy when he came to the Oakland airport right after he got released from prison. I was so excited to meet this man and premier freedom fighter that I programmed a little speech for him in my InTouch Talker AC device. I think he liked my speech because I think he smiled at me. I remember distinctly that Winnie Mandela gave me a hug. Definitely a memorable moment in my life. I wrote this poem after his death to commemorate his life. Father Madiba shook my hand. He shook my hand, and as a 9-year-old boy, my immature mind couldn't fathom the rough surfaces that scraped and scabbed the hand I touched. This hand that held the knowledge of law books as sledgehammers that slammed against the Great Wall of Apartheid. This hand that embraced and guided the African National Congress to express in words what was on their people's hearts. Their desire for freedom and self-determination from unjust white domination. This hand that was handcuffed for lashing out against the brutal state. This hand that was made to break limestone in an effort to break his spirit to no avail. Because this hand was still strong and firm when he grasped my hand after 27 years of holding cold metal prison bars. I shook the hand that crumbled the remnant of apartheid and then molded from his country's earth a democracy that all his people could thrive and prosper in. I shook the hand of the man honored and admired worldwide. Now as he rests in peace, I feel honored and blessed that he chose to shake mine. The Need for Family is a special poem for me because I am really close to my family. The poem is about how everyone needs a family that they identify with and love them, in my humble opinion. So hopefully you enjoy this poem. Me. Do the poem Y are you scared of me? First, let me do the poem. Why are you scared of me first? Why are you scared of me? Is my signature poem, and it is about dealing with stigma as a Black disabled man. I actually performed this poem at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, and a video of that poem is on my website. The audience over there loved this poem, and hopefully you all will love this poem too. Here it goes. Why are you scared of me? As a child, I knew that I was good, adorable, and safe. Because that was what my parents told me. That was what my grandma told me. That was what my physical therapist told me. That was what my teachers told me. So I believed it. I rolled around in my power wheelchair with my head held high and knew I was God's child blessed with promise. But the vision that I had of myself was not always reflected back in the eyes of others. From an early age, people used to stare at me and bore their eyes in the back of my skull like I was some freak, some monster whose face is too grotesque to look at. I grew up with kids who got at my gangly limbs squirming in my chair with an unease that never went away. Kids taught lessons of how I was out of place in their space. Malicious words sprung off their tongues and crashed into my eardrums with their hate and indifference. Why you fear me? Why you freak out whenever I am around? What is it about the sight of me that makes you cringe? Is it because when you look at me, you see a reminder of your own fragility? The fact that one day your body will go weak and die decomposing into dust? Or do you fear me for my skin? The smooth maroon and encasing of my body elicit fears that I might kick you, hit you, roll over you in my wheelchair. Am I that nappy-headed criminal that makes you clutch your purse as you walk past me? Do you secretly wish that a police officer come and bust in my head and take me to jail? Or better yet, put a bullet in my heart to stop the enraged monster you see me as? Or do you see me as a freak? A monster whose body medicine cannot fix, whose body cannot be loved, cannot be sexually desired, cannot provide a woman with her physical, emotional, spiritual, and sexual needs. Why does a woman emasculate me with her gaze? Do you see my body as only acceptable if rehabilitated? If I work on the surgical or therapeutic way to fix me, then you will embrace me with open arms, because then I will be just like you. That may look like a happy ending to you, but you will never know why you are really scared of me.
Are you ready for me to take it back?
Take your time, Laura.
And the need of family. Cup your hands and don't let your family slip between your fingers like sand in an hourglass. Every family member is precious, like a ruby sparkling with gold. No one is meant to be alone, without kith or kin, without someone to lean on, without someone to love you. See, the lie of rugged individualism won't nurse you when you are sick, counsel you when you are and you are depressed, or pick you up when you fall in peril. Yes, no family is perfect, but a good one will provide the scaffolding for your life. A good family will be there when you need them. So do not seclude yourself from your family in some far unreached place to live a life that you think you want. Like a fruit separated from the vine, if you split too long from your source, you too will die. And
That's it.
Wow. Oh my God. And just to echo, actually I'm hearing an echo in the room right now. To echo Leroy, you killed it, man. It's just incredible, incredible work. One thing I was thinking of while you were reading this last set is both your work and Leroy's work. I mean, I just really, as a poet myself, like y'all's work is really, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but it's your work, you know, I see it from my, like, it not only lifts up your human dignity, but you all lift up all of us. And you lift and raise our level of human dignity as well. And that both y'all's work really is, they're radical acts of resistance. Those poems are radical acts of resistance, and That's why, one of the reasons why I really truly have so much respect and love for you, Lateef, and as well for Leroy and the work that you offer and gift the rest of us with. So anyway, incredible work. We do have some time if anybody has any questions that you would like to engage Leroy and Lateef about. Oh, it looks like we have one. Question. So I guess what we'll do is I'll ask the questions, and then Leroy and Lateef, you guys can answer. So the first question is, a very good question, where can the books be purchased? Are they on Amazon? So your books, Lateef, and as well, your books as well, and your work, Leroy. So if you guys want to answer that or tell people where they can get your work, that would be good.
Lateef, you can go first.
Turn in on yes, they are on Amazon and also on you can buy them on directly through me, and I can mail it through to you. Yes, they are on Amazon, and also you can buy them directly through me, and I can mail it to you.
Yeah, for me, I would like to avoid Amazon if I can. You could purchase it on poorpress.net, poorpress.net.
Okay. Great. So we have a few more questions. So I'll go ahead and if that's good with you guys, Leroy and Lateef, I'll go ahead and ask a couple more questions that are up here. This is fun to hear to hear from you guys about your work. So we have a great question here. One both for Lateef and for Leroy. For Lateef, the question is, what is your PhD focus? And then next for Leroy is, where is your column in the paper?
Lateef, go ahead.
PhD is going to be focusing on the mentoring program at the Bridge School, which
With department.
teaches young children who use AAC. And I am evaluating how self-advocacy and leadership is taught in that program by interviewing the mentor, teachers that lead, that use AAC as well as the adult former students of the program. My PhD is going to be focusing on the mentoring program at the Bridge School, which teaches young children to use AAC, and I am evaluating how self-advocacy and leadership is taught in that program by interviewing the mentor teachers that use AAC as well as the adult former students of the program.
Yeah, and I think part two of the question is on where can you find my column. I write a column for Poor Magazine called Yelling and Chilling. It was started back in 1991. I think it was the first column on race and disability. So you can find it there on www.poormagazine.org. And sometimes I write a column, although sometimes I write articles for the Bayview newspaper in San Francisco, one of the badass Black newspapers in the Bay.
Okay, great. Thank you both. We have, looks like one more question. If that's good. These are great questions. This one is you both have so much courage and strength. What message would you each give to a young budding artist with disabilities watching out there?
Keith, take it away.
I would tell them to not give up on
your feedback.
their dream and also find help with other disabled writers and artists who have success previously. I would tell them to not give up on their dream and also find help with other disabled writers and artists who have success previously.
Yeah, I totally agree with Latif, and I would just add to be critically to everyone. You know, always ask questions, always dig for answers, dig for your community, dig for your brothers and sisters, because sometimes it's not in institutions, it's not in books, so you have to dig for it. You know, it's really, especially now, it's so easy with the internet, you know. So if you want something, dig for it. And yeah, you know, also know that there's gonna be hard times.
I
Yeah, so I'll just end the saying, you know, there's gonna be hard times. You know, nothing is easy. But, you know, once you stick with it and find your community, find your folks, but, you know, be critical of everything. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Thank you both for that. And thank you to the audience for the questions. I know before we close out, Latif wanted to say some closing remarks, and I'll say a few things after Latif just to say goodbye to everyone and full circle this baby. All right. I'm going to hand it over to Latif.
Thank you all for coming. I hope you all had a good time at this event. I would like to thank Alice Wong of the Disability Visibility Project for sponsoring this event. John Peterson of Poetic Matrix Press for publishing my book. Also want to thank the sign language interpreters and the captioner of the event. Of course, I want to thank Amalia for hosting the event and for Leroy giving this extraordinary performance today. I also want to thank my parents for hosting the event at their fabulous home. And lastly, I want to thank all of you in cyberspace for coming to this event. I am humbled and honored. Have a good rest of the day. L.
And just, you don't need to hear from me again. That was perfect. But I am, as I said before, it's really truly been my pleasure to be able to host today. And I can't thank Latif and Leroy enough for bringing us together with their beautiful, just fucking que viva la raza, all power to the people work that that is necessary and that is resistance. So again, I second that what Latif said. Just I really hope everyone has a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for being with us all. Also, it's Latif's birthday. In case you didn't know, he's the big 40. It's a huge beginning here in the 40s. I've been there for about 4 years. It's better than the 30s, I can tell you that. But happy birthday. And again, to Leroy for your just hard-hitting, just knock me down work every time. And as well to the sign language interpreters who have been amazing. And I don't know, do you have any closing remarks, Leroy?
No, I just want to say, Latif, you kick ass, you know, Krip love, Krip community, and keep on doing what you're doing. And OD, you kick ass.
Yay!
Love you, Leroy.
Yay. All right, take care, everybody. Big love, poetry for all.
Happy birthday, Latif. I'll give you purple hugs next time I see you.
Thank you, Odie, and Odie and Amalia and Leroy. Thank you and bye. Everyone, thank you, Odie and Amalia and Leroy. Thank you and bye, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was really beautiful. Thank you all. I really was so happy to be here.
Okay. Hello.
Okay, adios.